Okay, here's a question. Can love really be free
Mm.
in, a capitalist world? Or does money always somehow find a way in? Today, we're doing a deep dive into something that, well, it makes a lot of us shuffle our feet a bit, doesn't it? But it's a reality we just can't ignore. The deep, often surprising link between our money and our love lives.
Exactly. And our mission today really is to unpack that complex relationship. We're looking at financial realities, romantic connections, drawing insights straight from the source material you've shared with us. We're definitely going to challenge that sort of comfortable idea that money and love are totally separate things. The sources, well, they suggest they're much more tangled up than we usually like to think.
Yeah, digging into these sources, what really jumped out at me were the unexpected connections, from ancient traditions right up to how dating apps work today. It's quite a journey, and it's going to shed light on some surprising facts, global trends, and maybe even some practical stuff for you to think about in your own relationships. It's pretty wild to think about the ancient roots here. For so much of history, marriage wasn't really about, candlelight dinners and romantic walks, was it? It sounds much more like, I don't know, strategic resource planning.
You've hit the nail on the head there. Absolutely. The sources really back this up. They talk about dowries, arranged marriages, alliances built purely on inheritance. These were the cornerstones. Well, it wasn't just a luxury item. Often it was basically impossible until you had survival and, resources sorted out. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Was there any room for just liking someone back then? Or was it truly all about the money and land? Yeah, one of our sources says it so clearly. We like to think money and love are separate, but history shows they've always been intertwined.
That's a powerful quote. And it's amazing how those old patterns sort of echo today. So if that's the past, how does this stuff actually show up now, especially here in 2025? It feels like we're still kind of grappling with the same things, just maybe dressed up differently.
It really is fascinating how they persist, isn't it? Just in new forms. And if you look at the bigger picture, the global data gives us a pretty clear snapshot of modern dating. So women, broadly speaking, still prioritize financial stability pretty highly in a long-term partner. Maybe that's an echo of that old need for security, right? But what's really interesting now is that men are increasingly valuing financial independence in women. That signals a shift towards more of an economic partnership. And this isn't just hidden preferences. Dating apps, they really show this off. They filter people based on lifestyle cues, fancy holidays, designer stuff, job titles. The source material makes a really sharp point here. The modern dating market is less about who you are and more about what your lifestyle signals.
Wow, what are your lifestyle signals? That's quite something. It kind of makes you ask if that's what the market values. Are we just learning to perform being a good partner based on status rather than actually being one? And how does this price tag or maybe the influence of money change so much depending on where you are in the world?
That's a really great point about performance, and it definitely leads to the regional question, because yeah, love might feel universal, but the price tag, the social rules around money and relationships, it absolutely varies. So, for instance, in the U.S. and Europe, you see this focus on power couples, right, where having two strong incomes is almost a status symbol itself. But then you look at Asia, and having financial stability before you even think about marriage is still a really powerful cultural expectation. Across parts of Africa and South America, it's often more about community wealth, how a partnership fits into the wider family's finances. And then in the Middle East and South Asia, you still see family negotiations about finances playing a huge, sometimes very direct role in marriage. It just really underscores how much culture shapes all of this. Love may be universal, but the price tag is regional, as one source puts it.
Right, and given how much money seems to weave through everything, maybe it's not surprising it can also cause major problems. The stats on money issues in relationships are pretty stark, actually. Financial problems are a top reason for divorce worldwide. It really shows that money isn't just about buying things. It's tangled up with our emotions and security in a partnership.
It really is.
Yeah.
And what's interesting from the sources is how things like debt or just different ideas about spending or maybe one person earning way more than the other, how these things can create these hidden tensions, resentments that just build up. And the sources point out that couples often just don't talk about money honestly, not until it's way too late. And that just makes everything worse. There's this analogy used. If love is the heartbeat of a relationship, money is the blood flow, invisible but essential. You don't always notice the blood flow, right? But if it's blocked or not flowing right, the whole system is in trouble. That really sticks with you, that analogy. It makes you think how many couples are maybe avoiding those difficult money talks.
Okay, so where does that leave us? If money can be this quiet, damaging force, How can couples actually, handle it? Can they even use money to make their relationship stronger instead of letting it drive them apart?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Pun intended, maybe. Sources actually lay out 5 key strategies, ways for couples to sort of win together financially, to turn money into a team sport, not a battlefield. First up is radical transparency, just putting it all out there: income, spending, debts, everything. Now, that sounds simple, but you mentioned earlier how uncomfortable it is.
Yeah, exactly. It takes real guts,
Yeah.
real vulnerability, doesn't it? How
Mhm.
do people even start that?
That's the challenge for sure, but it's the foundation. Building on that, number 2 is shared goals. Actually sitting down and agreeing on what you're saving for, investing in, what kind of life you want together, looking ahead as a team. Third is financial equality. This is crucial, making sure both partners feel they have some autonomy, some control. It's not about dependency, it's about respect. Fourth, and I like this one, is invest in love. So actually budgeting for fun, for shared experiences, not just the bills and survival stuff. And finally, number 5, build together, not alone. Actively creating wealth as a unit, which, let's face it, is often way more powerful than going it alone. The core message from the sources really boils down to this: the real power couple isn't defined by income, but by alignment.
Alignment, not just income. I like that. So it seems pretty clear from everything we've looked at. Money doesn't buy love? No. But it absolutely profoundly shapes the world love exists in, from ancient dowries to today's dating apps. And maybe in 2025, the economics of it all are just more visible, maybe more intense than ever.
Absolutely. And if that alignment, that financial teamwork really is the key to being a power couple now, well, it makes you think, doesn't it? How could really honest, truly transparent conversations about money actually reshape what we think commitment and partnership even mean in today's world? That's definitely something worth mulling over.